Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. In today's video, we're shooting, those are the Mr. Hollow Point 7/8 ounce slugs, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're shooting the Mr. Hollow Point 7/8 ounce slugs through the 835 with the rifled barrel that Martin sent, so massive thanks to Martin. We have it topped with a DisCOVERYOPT, let's see, the HT 3x12x40SF scope, which we really like it too. It's an excellent scope. You can zoom in really far with it. It doesn't quite have all the bells and whistles that the other one has, but the other one is like twice as powerful as this scope is. Discovery Optic did send us this scope to review, so that's what we're doing here. So far, it's been performing really well. We have it sighted in for the Lyman 525 once again, which Josh took out point of aim with it, so we know it's nice and sighted in. But we're going to see how it does with these Mr. Hollow Point 7/8 ounce slugs.
Alrighty guys, today I've got a sort of kind of ladder test. They're loaded everything from 2.5 inch to 3.5 inch. They're all pretty well the same load except for the 2 3/4. They're in a compression formed hull, so a tapered hull. They're loaded with 39 instead of 40 grains of HS6, which I guess that brings us around to the load. They're all loaded with a slight variation of 40 grains of HS6 at X12X. These ones here worked out with a 12S3 clone, no shot cut off of it. The 7/8 ounce Mr. Hollow Point slug, which is, I believe, 380 grain slug, and a fold crimp. Well, that's this one. The 2 3/4 are loaded the same way, exactly, except for there's an extra X12X on top of the 12S3 clone. And then on the 3 inch, there's 2 extra X12X, and then on the 3.5 there's a stack of fiber cushion wad. That's the only difference in them. They're all loaded though, X12X, 12S3, fiber cushion. So now that I got that out of the way, let's see how these things do out of the 2.5 inch, or yeah, 2.5 inch hulls.
Basically, what he's trying to do is figure out which shell length will provide the best accuracy.
Or if these leave them work.
Yep.
You all ready?
Yep. You clip the top edge of the paper.
That's way off. That's not looking good, is it?
No, we have it sighted in for the Lyman 525, and that looks like these slugs are hitting like a foot high.
Well, if we put another one there, we know, I guess.
Yeah.
No need to throw some dope in this scope. I might do it anyways. What do you think?
We'll just move point of aim down.
I can adjust it real quick, like. Yeah, it went just as high as the other one.
Yep, these slugs hit high out of this gun.
If that's the case, then I'll adjust it, and the rest of them should be on paper. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's easy enough.
Pretty, fairly decent group right there. They're just hitting about a foot high and 6 inches right.
I don't know where the third one went, but there's 2 out of 3. The primer's still round on them. There's no bubbling of the brass or anything.
These were in a 2.5 inch hole.
That should be right at listed. I think it's believe 1450 and 1500 FPS. Like I said, I'll gladly test them again. I like HS6 and finding the different things I can do with it. So
yeah, we keep forgetting to change the battery in the chrono. Got here again today and realized we forgot it.
Happens.
Yep.
I was aiming here, and they all went right here. Still, that's between there to there is 1, 2, 3, 4 by 3. 4 by 3, that it ain't too bad. That's my first shot. My next 2 are 1/2 inch apart.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do.
Fairly decent group, but this slug has a totally different point of impact than the 525 did.
I adjusted it though. It's got the zeroing out turrets on it, so we sighted it in and had them zeroed. So I just put all kinds of dope in it to get it up and over. So right. The rest of them, in theory, should fly down here. And if not, well, I screwed the pooch. Alrighty, guys, we've got here the next size up in the ladder. This one's a 2 3/4 inch AA HS hull, which is a tapered hull. So this is the only one that has a different powder charge. It is loaded with 39 grains of HS6. It also, I guess it has a different wad in it too, because it's a tapered haul. But it's got the, what is it? The figure 8 wad, and then the 7/8 ounce Mr. Hollow Point slug. I forgot I had to use a different wad in this one because it's a tapered haul. This is the only one that varies any from the other ones though. But I guess we'll see what they do here. Does the length of haul help anything? The shorter jump through the chamber into the rifling? That's more what I'm curious in than anything.
I'm going to say right now the 3.5 inch will do the best.
That's probably true, but that's why I'm doing this. We were shooting the 410 grain Mr. Hollow Points and it got me curious. You know what I mean? But if you're ready, I'm ready as I'm going to be.
Ready?
Right below point of aim. It seems like the dope I put in the scope actually worked.
1733.
Ooh,
I told you they'd be running faster than 1450.
It's also out of the tapered haul.
Yeah, that's true.
But I back pattern crane down a charge, which you can take this from, in my researching books anyways, 38 grains to 44, so I wouldn't say I went quite the middle, but I went with 40 and 39 in the tapered haul. That's just my preference.
Inch and a half away and 1731. Velocity real consistent.
HS6 seems to be really good for that. Real stable powder. And it seems to do everything pretty well.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Had a flyer.
1564, that wasn't your fault. The velocity was just lower. We were just bragging about HS6 being real consistent. Look what happened.
Huh?
We were just bragging about HS6 being real consistent. Look what happened.
That's probably my fault on the wad. Not the powder's fault. That's probably me loading.
Maybe.
I was loading these at 1 o'clock in the morning. Anyways.
Up and, yeah, there you go.
Primers are all round on them. The brass all looks great.
Nice load. That third one we know wasn't your fault or the Slug's fault. It was just velocity was like 180 FPS lower.
Yeah, that was closer to advertised velocity.
Yeah, it was.
All in all, that ain't too much better accuracy other than me adjusting the scope for that slug. My first ones were 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly 5 inches apart, and these ones here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That might be a little worse than them ones.
We did also figure out that this particular slug loves to be driven real fast, like 2,000 feet a second. And at that speed, every hole was overlapping.
Yes. But I believe the 2 3/4 for my testing purposes fared a little less than
It did.
the 2.5 patterned better.
Yep.
Well, let's see what the 3-inch does.
All right, guys, I'm up now. This is the 3-inch shell. It's got one of them's in a Shadot. The next two are in Winchesters. CX2000 primer, 40 grains of HS6, X12X gas seal, Claybuster 12S3 clone with no shot cup, and another X12X gas seal, and then the Mr. Hollow Point 380 grain slug. We're at 42 yards. Let's see how these do.
So far, the 2.5's outformed the 2 3/4.
Yep. Let's see. That one hit about 4 inches right at point of aim, and 1474.
Huh. Maybe I retract my statement about it being consistent.
Yeah. It's probably just the weight of the slug, honestly.
$14.60.
At 1460, and it's less than an inch away from that first shot.
14 FPS difference. Not a lot,
consistent.
But if they all hover right in there, that just might be how they perform out of the 3-inch shell. $13.84.
All right, I have two about an inch away, and then my last shot was, I think, 3 inches left of my second shot. $13.84.
Huh. Should have loaded 4, that way there's only 1 inconsistent and 3 good ones. What haul went last?
Well, one of these Winchesters.
Oh, all right. I was just trying to make sure it wasn't that one. That way. There you go.
All right, guys, the primers all look great on these. Brass looks just fine too. Nothing wrong with them at all. Accuracy was pretty decent. Well, guys, here's my first 2 shots, and they are exactly 1 inch away. And here's my third shot. It's funny, every time we go up shell length, velocity decreases a little bit, and the point of aim or point of impact changes slightly. It's just kind of funny.
Alrighty, guys, these ones here are once again 40 grains of HS6 X12X, and these ones here have the short sail wad. You just see that in this clear
You can
white
see
hull.
it kinda. It's the green.
Short sail wad, 12S3 with no shot cap, and then the 7/8 ounce slug. So that's how those ones are loaded. They got a CX 2000 primer in them. These are all once fired Shadot hulls. So here you go, Jaron. See what you can't do, buddy.
What?
Might be out of battery. Trigger dead. Here, what's it?
Is it not in battery again?
Might just have a dead trigger.
Okay, that one almost hit point of aim. $14.95. Something wrong with the hull.
I just kick it out and abandon it.
Dang near same hole, Jaron. Yeah.
That was the same hole.
I'll be right back, Jared.
That's some good shooting, Jaron. 1477 FPS.
Well,
He hit about 8 inches right.
I think she jerked it.
That was right on point. That was weird.
Just want to check the velocity. 1594.
All right, guys, here's Jaron's first 2 shots. They are overlapping. And this one over here, well, he jerked the trigger on that one. That hull he was using wasn't resized. So it was kind of not cooperating with us just right. So he jerked the trigger, and that's what happened. And this one over here is the one Josh just fired. He wasn't really aiming, but he just wanted to see the velocity on it. Well, guys, it looks like we might have to redo this video in the future, which is fine. That's all in fun. But it looks like the 3.5 inch shell gave us the best accuracy. Jaron had 2 of his shots touching, and he pulled his third shot. I mentioned this earlier, but that shell just wouldn't go off for us. We don't know what it was, so Jaron just jerked the trigger really hard and managed to get it to go off. Well, he pulled the shot. Off camera, Josh racked the shell out and closed it really hard. I'm thinking that the shell just wasn't resized. Maybe Josh forgot to resize it, which has happened before. But yeah, he slammed it into the chamber and the trigger was still dead, it seemed. So Jaron just went boom, got it to go off, and like I said, pulled the shot. Now, speaking a little bit more about the scope, it held up just fine for us. Every shot we took, it was great. We can see a pretty long way with it, not quite as far as the previous scope they sent us, the 6x24x50. That scope is an absolute monster. Well, this is like the baby brother of it. You can see, I think, out to about 500-600 yards clear as day with it. And past that, it starts to get a little bit fuzzy, but 500-600 yards is still a great distance for a relatively cheap scope. Guys, this scope is about $100, and you can use the coupon code that's pinned to the comment below, the top comment, for a 30% discount on Amazon, and they have a 10% coupon right now also on Amazon. So you can get 40% off this scope right now. It comes out to about 62 bucks for a pretty nice scope. This one is a lot more simple than the, again, previous scope they sent us. It doesn't seem to have the, well, it doesn't have the illuminated reticle. And like I said, you can't see quite as far with it, but still, it's got quite a range to it. Overall, for a $100 scope without the coupon codes, it's a pretty good one. And as always, our opinions are our own. They did not pay us to do this review or anything. It's a good scope. We like it. We didn't have any great accuracy in this video, but we did discover that the Mr. Hollow Point 380 grain slug, or 7/8 ounce, it likes to be driven fast, like 2000 FPS fast. If you guys haven't seen it yet, the video will be out soon. We fired these through the Ultra Slug, and, well, we pushed them to 2000 FPS with long shot powder, and Josh had every shot overlapping. He had a 1-inch group at 42 yards with that slug. And we had some other really good groupings with it. It's kind of funny, we were saying how consistent and well-performing HS6 powder is, and then immediately after we were talking about that, we saw some wild inconsistencies with velocities. But as you guys probably know, don't ever praise your stuff, especially on camera, because it will, without a shadow of a doubt, start failing. Look at this thing. That is a beast of a cat. Her name is Ethel. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for this video. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month, and you guys get early access to content. A link to that, as well as a link to our Instagram and Rumble accounts, will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.